Warning! Do not watch on an empty stomach and make sure your fridge is well stocked. These modern cooking manhwa follow real-world chefs chasing dreams and running high-stakes kitchens. If you enjoy restaurant dramas, gourmet food stories, and the grit behind the glamour, you're home. Let's dig in. In the modern world, there are two types of hotels: 5-star hotels and non-5-star hotels. All other types fall under the third class. Ranked among the top 100 hotels in the country is the Julia Hotel. Known for its excellent service and top-tier chefs who prepare gourmet dishes for its guests. Our protagonist, Kang Sung-hoon, is an apprentice chef working in the hotel kitchen. His daily tasks include menial chores and chopping vegetables in preparation for cooking. Although he has been working there for 4 years, he is still the youngest and most junior chef. The senior chefs, eager to avoid the less desirable tasks, often delegate the dirty work to him, especially jobs like cleaning. One day, as he was busy working, another senior chef ordered him to clean the grease trap, a tank used to collect waste oil after a day of cooking. While struggling to lift the heavy oil container, Sung-hoon heard a shout up ahead that caught his attention. It was the head chef, Do Jin-sok, scolding another chef for making a mistake while cooking. Do Jin-sok, the head chef of 17 chefs in the kitchen, had worked at the hotel for years. Despite his gruff demeanor, Sung-hoon knew that the head chef's words were always right. He aspired to be as skilled as him one day. While lost in thought, Sung-hoon was interrupted by the cleaning lady. "Why did you bring this here? I just emptied it all." She sounded frustrated. He sheepishly explained that a senior had asked him to do it. The cleaning lady sighed sympathetically, wondering when they would stop treating him as the youngest. Sung-hoon awkwardly scratched his head and replied, "I'm still an assistant chef. Last year, I was washing dishes, so this is an improvement." She encouraged him, urging him to strive for a higher position and do it faster. She took the cleaning task from him and told him to go back to his work. Sung-hoon returned to prepare for the chef's seminar. His senior didn't want to attend, so Sung-hoon was sent to mark the attendance. Absently checking his phone, he realized it was almost time. He hurried to make it on time. Luckily, he arrived just as the seminar was starting but, unfortunately, found there were no empty seats. He decided to mark the attendance first. While signing his name, someone called out, "Kang Sung-hoon, is that you?" It was Go Jung-tae, a friend and comrade from his past. Jung-tae had won first place in the public service category of a military cooking competition. The two had spent 8 weeks together during the competition and quickly became close friends. Sung-hoon was surprised to see Jung-tae had also become a chef. Jung-tae shared that he was now working as an assistant chef at the Hilton Hotel. Sung-hoon was happy for his friend's success in the culinary world. When asked about his own work, Sung-hoon felt a bit embarrassed to say he was working at the small Julia Hotel. Jung-tae was surprised, not knowing the hotel's name, and continuously asked, "Why don't you quit? What could you possibly learn there? What's your position, apprentice or assistant chef?" Sung-hoon shyly replied, "Actually, I'm still an intern." Jung-tae exclaimed in surprise, "Why didn't you call me?" He then handed Sung-hoon his business card. "Contact me anytime. I know many seniors who could help you. If I introduce you to them, it'll benefit you. Let's go inside for now," he added. Seeing Sung-hoon hesitate, Jung-tae quickly realized that he had only come to mark attendance. Indeed, the senior chefs at his hotel were lazy and had pushed him into attending just to fill the spot. Jung-tae insisted, pulling him in since there were 2 empty seats left for his absent head chef. The MC announced that the seminar would start in 5 minutes. Feeling a bit nervous, Sung-hoon decided to visit the restroom. While washing his hands, a man appeared behind him. Sung-hoon glanced over and immediately recognized the unfriendly face, Young Il-woo. From the expression on his face, it was clear they shared an unpleasant history. Sung-hoon recalled 8 years ago when he had been an eager apprentice at the Myeongdong Hotel. Back then, he had been enthusiastic about his work, but his senior, Young Il-woo, had introduced him to the kitchen, sparking resentment from the other chefs. The older chefs, resentful of the new arrivals, often bullied them. Young-il-woo, in particular, had believed that Sung-hoon had gotten the job through connections and made it his mission to put him in his place. Though another senior chef initially wanted to avoid conflict, the malicious Young-il-woo persisted. One day, he pointed to a huge pile of onions and ordered Sung-hoon to chop them all by breakfast the next day, without giving him a chance to explain. When Sung-hoon couldn't finish the task on his own, Young-il-woo returned the next day and beat him mercilessly for not completing it. Clutching his bruised stomach, Sung-hoon tried to argue. "I wasn't supposed to do it alone. At least 4 people are needed for this task." But Young-il-woo wouldn't listen, grabbing him by the collar and continuing to beat him, while others stood by and watched in amusement. The following months were grueling. Every small mistake, even if Sung-hoon had done his best, was met with harsh scolding. The insults grew worse, and after 3 months of relentless bullying, Sung-hoon's passion for cooking faded. He decided to leave the Myeongdong Hotel and swore never to pursue the path of a chef again, until his father's death. Now, seeing Young-il-woo again made Sung-hoon visibly uncomfortable. Young-il-woo looked at him with disdain, hurling insults. His words only infuriated Sung-hoon further. A confrontation seemed inevitable, until Jung Tae appeared. Jung Tae, a good friend, had been searching for Sung-hoon when he didn't return. His arrival forced Young-il-woo to reluctantly walk away. The two friends calmed down and returned to the seminar together. The main topic of the seminar was the Michelin Guide's release in Korea. This foreign guide had a significant impact on Korean cuisine, and the Culinary Association announced that they would rank hotels based on their Korean dishes. The news surprised everyone and sparked lively discussion. This policy would have a major effect on hotel rankings, making the quality of the kitchen essential to a hotel's reputation. To ensure fairness, the association planned to promote the rankings on television. The results would be broadcast live on KBC. Everyone understood that the ranking broadcast was essentially an announcement of a cooking competition. As the seminar came to an end, there was a sense of pressure among the chefs. Only the top 20 ranked hotels would be featured, while those ranked lower would be left out. The participating chefs had to have less than 10 years of experience to qualify. With 8 years of experience, Jung Tae still had a chance to participate, but Sung-hoon, as just an assistant chef, felt he wouldn't be eligible. Jung Tae, regretting not having another chance to cook alongside his friend, bid Sung-hoon farewell, and the two went their separate ways to return to their respective hotels. Upon reporting back, Kang Sung-hoon called to brief his superior about the seminar details, but had to wait for a while before someone picked up the phone. The voice on the other end sounded irritated, explaining that they were overwhelmed due to a sudden influx of tourists from China. The kitchen was running low on ingredients, and they urgently needed Sung-hoon to go to the supplier for a restock. Sung-hoon responded, "Just me? Why not have them deliver it?" The person on the other end, clearly frustrated, snapped, "Ingredients are your responsibility." Given his lowest rank in the kitchen, Sung-hoon knew he couldn't argue back. He sighed and agreed, "All right, I'll be back soon." Back in the kitchen, when the head chef asked about Sung-hoon, the assistant chef explained that he was on his way back and could pick up the ingredients on his way. The head chef was aware of the Culinary Association's televised event and seemed to have high expectations for Sung-hoon. Meanwhile, everyone in the kitchen was busy, working hard to serve the tourists. The head chef kept a close watch on the team, constantly reminding them to work faster. The section leader, Do Jongmin, expressed frustration, blaming Sung-hoon for the current chaos, saying that if he had returned earlier, they wouldn't be struggling so much. Curious, Jongmin asked the head chef why he had sent Sung-hoon to get the ingredients when he usually handled it himself. The head chef replied seriously, "Jongmin, don't you understand why?" Jongmin hesitated. I don't know." With a sigh, the head chef replied, "You're still very green." He then turned and walked away. Standing before the cutting board, the head chef placed 3 red tilapias on it. Deep in thought, the section leader, Oh Hyungmin, noticed him standing still and called out, "Head chef, what are you looking at so intently?" The head chef called him over and asked, "Do you think these fish are wild or farmed? Take a closer look." Kyungmin replied. Just by looking, I'd say they are wild. Head chef, he continued, they have a fresh pink color on their scales with diamond-shaped green spots. Being over 50 centimeters and still maintaining their color, they must be wild. The head chef countered. That's just a general assumption. An expert would classify them differently. He began pointing out the finer details. Look closely, it should have 2 separate nostrils. Not like this. He smiled lightly, pleased, but Kang Sung-hoon sorted them all correctly. That kid, this time, we got a big catch. His meaning was clear. He had discovered Sung-hoon's hidden talent. At Garrick Market, Sung-hoon followed his senior's instructions and was picking up more ingredients. He arrived at an apple store and greeted the owner, revealing that they were well acquainted. The owner introduced that they had Cheongju and Sungju apples available that day. Sung-hoon eagerly picked up an apple, and just by holding it, he could immediately assess its quality. He said to the owner, I think this apple has low sugar content. The owner, surprised, responded, this is a Cheongju apple, the best apple in Korea. Sung-hoon explained, when you hold the apple, you can feel that it has become soggy. If you don't believe me, try biting into it. The owner, who had been in the business for many years, was skeptical but peeled the apple Sung-hoon handed her and took a bite. To her surprise, it tasted exactly as Sung-hoon had described. Lacking flavor. She thanked him. Goodness, I need to return these right away. If it weren't for you, I'd have been in big trouble. How did you know just by touching it? Sung-hoon, unsure how to explain, awkwardly responded, it's just a method I know. He then proceeded to check the Sungju apples, which were fine, and asked the owner to send 3 boxes to the hotel. Next, Sung-hoon visited a fish shop, where the owner greeted him warmly. It seemed he was a regular customer at the market. The ingredient Sung-hoon needed was blue crabs. Although the owner didn't have any in stock, he made a call and arranged for Sung-hoon to get some from a nearby shop. The blue crabs were fresh and newly caught. Looking very appealing, Sung-hoon picked up one to inspect. And upon touching it, he could sense the bustling scene of the early morning catch. Pleased, he said, these crabs are really fresh. The owner was happy to hear this compliment and arranged for the crabs to be delivered to the hotel. With the ingredients purchased, Sung-hoon headed back. At that moment, he received a message and took out his phone to check it, which dampened his spirits. The message was from the hospital, informing him of an outstanding bill amounting to over 23 million won. Sung-hoon sighed in frustration. It was a significant debt. Returning to Julia Hotel, Sung-hoon quickly changed and joined his seniors in the kitchen. Everyone was busy cooking to serve the guests. As soon as he stepped into the kitchen, he was immediately bombarded with tasks. Someone needed more sausages, another needed the boiled ducks, and even the task of changing the gas cylinder fell to him. Sung-hoon was overwhelmed with support work, barely having time to breathe. The calls for assistance from his seniors kept coming. Jongmin, seeing Sung-hoon being so busy, smirked with satisfaction. While he was distracted by his work, he was reminded to stay focused. Finally, the hectic period ended, and everyone sighed with relief. They had to exert all their effort to serve the large group of guests. After the service, they all worked together to clean up the kitchen, seeing the senior chefs helping with the cleaning. Unlike his own experience when he was the youngest and had to handle all the cleaning and dishwashing, Jongmin felt bitter. He was envious and resentful, thinking, what does he have that I don't? As Jongmin was daydreaming, a senior's voice snapped him back to his task. After washing the dishes, he was responsible for putting them in their designated places. Jongmin, still irritated, called him over with the intent to reprimand him. He loudly scolded, I only asked you to mark attendance for me, right? Why did you stay there the whole time and come back late? If you hadn't come back late, we wouldn't have been overwhelmed like this. Sung-hoon didn't argue, he just bowed his head and apologized. Emboldened, Jongmin continued to raise his voice, berating him more and more. Without noticing the head chef standing behind him, Sung-hoon gently reminded Jongmin to lower his voice, which made Jongmin, thinking Sung-hoon was being defiant, even more furious. His face flushed with anger, and he raised his hand with the intent to strike Sung-hoon. But the head chef caught his hand mid-air. The head chef's presence made Jongmin turn pale with fear. Shouted angrily, "What do you think you're doing? Did I teach you to behave like this? Why were you about to slap him?" Jongmin, worried, bowed and made excuses, claiming he was only trying to teach Sung-hoon because he was slow and distracted during work. The head chef, looking stern, said nothing, allowing the situation to diffuse. Sung-hoon quickly apologized to the head chef. "If I had worked faster, the seniors wouldn't have been so busy, and even the cleanup would have finished sooner. It's my fault." Head chef, moved by Sung-hoon's sincerity. The head chef's expression softened, and Jongmin felt relieved. The head chef sighed. "All right, I understand." But he didn't let Jongmin off the hook, turning to him with a warning. "Even if he is a junior, I forbid you from raising your hand against him in this kitchen. Understood? Such behavior is unacceptable for someone who calls themselves a section leader." This ends here. Also, we will have a cooking test at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Sung-hoon, you don't need to go to the market. Just come here and start working in the morning. The head chef settled the matter smoothly. As Sung-hoon was changing to go home, he received a message from a girl named Jae-hee, asking to meet at a cafe because she had something important to discuss. Feeling uneasy, he was about to leave when Jongmin appeared in front of him again. Still upset about the earlier incident, Jongmin jealously accused, "Who do you think you are that the head chef cares so much about you? Why do I have to attend the test tomorrow with the head chef? What's the reason? He even let you off the market duty." Kang Sung-hoon, not entirely sure of the reason himself, simply relayed what he knew. After returning from the seminar, the hotel's kitchen would participate in the Best Chef program, with only chefs under 10 years of experience allowed to join. Sung-hoon mentioned that perhaps the head chef would choose Jongmin for the competition. Hearing this, Jongmin felt somewhat pleased but still puzzled. Then why did he ask you to go there? Sung-hoon, unsure, suggested that perhaps the head chef wanted him to temporarily take on Jongmin's role. Satisfied with this explanation, the irritable chef finally let Sung-hoon go. Like in a Korean drama, the main character often runs to make it to a date on time. If he ever quits being a chef, Sung-hoon should consider joining a marathon club. Standing in front of the cafe, Sung-hoon felt a bit nervous, sighed, straightened his clothes, and walked inside. He scanned the room for his date. At a table in the distance, a beautiful girl sat alone waiting. She looked up and coldly said, "You're finally here? You're late." Their eyes locked with a spark of tension. They sat together for a while, the ice in their drinks melting. Without exchanging a word, Kang Sung-hoon broke the silence first. "So, what did you want to talk about?" The girl didn't say anything. She just handed her phone to Sung-hoon and told him to look at its content. Sung-hoon's demeanor suddenly became tense as he looked at the phone. The wallpaper showed a romantic scene of her with another man. Sung-hoon closed his eyes in resignation. "I see. Is this all you wanted to tell me?" She slowly spoke. "That man is also a chef like you. But he is completely different. He has a higher status. Maybe a bit older, but he is already a head chef. Moreover, he works at a hotel ranked in the top 20. And you? You're still an apprentice at a hotel barely in the top 100. I don't want to waste my youth and life on someone like that." It turned out they were lovers. But she decided to leave him for a better prospect, believing Kang Sung-hoon's future wasn't bright. Hearing her blunt words, Sung-hoon couldn't argue and just sat there in silence. Jae-hee continued, "I've said everything I needed to. Don't you have anything to say?" Sung-hoon sighed and replied, "No." Jae-hee didn't say anything more. Standing up to leave, before she walked away, she added, "Oh, and you should thank me. Thank me for opening your eyes to reality while you're still so naive." Not only did Sung-hoon get cheated on before the breakup, but he also had to thank her for it. How infuriating. His fate as the protagonist seemed particularly unlucky. Throughout the conversation, Kang Sung-hoon remained silent, knowing he had no success to speak of, unable to blame his girlfriend. Life is practical and harsh like that, without a career or money. This harsh reality is inevitable. Frustrated, Sung-hoon turned to alcohol and slept until the next morning. He woke up with a start, grabbing his phone and seeing it was already 6:30, causing him to panic. He hastily dressed, ready to go to the market, then remembered he didn't need to go today. Relieved, Kang Sung-hoon stood in the bright morning light, promising himself to work even harder. A new day began at Julia Hotel. Though he didn't need to go to the market, Sung-hoon still arrived early, busily arranging the tools, while he was engrossed in his work. He didn't notice the head chef had been observing him from behind. Sung-hoon turned and saw the head chef, quickly bowing in greeting. At that moment, the senior chefs returned with the ingredients, everyone in high spirits, showing their fondness for Sung-hoon. Unlike Jongmin, suddenly, the kitchen door was slammed open. Jongmin hurried in, and the sous chef, Kim Sung-soo, angrily shouted, "Jongmin, you're late again?" Everyone whispered about his work attitude. Today was an important day. And he still arrived late. If the head chef finds out, you're done, they murmured. Jongmin arrogantly retorted, "Why are you shouting? I arrived right at 8 o'clock. Didn't I?" The sous chef was visibly irritated but held back because the head chef was present. The head chef's voice made Jongmin quickly line up. He announced the selection program for the top 20 hotel kitchens through the Best Chef competition, with the condition that participating chefs must have less than 10 years of experience. This was an opportunity to enhance the hotel's reputation. Hearing the announcement, Jongmin stood to the side, smirking, confident that he would be chosen. Since everyone else had over 10 years of experience, only he and Kang Sung-hoon qualified to participate, making Jongmin very confident that the spot would be his. He boasted in front of everyone, not noticing the head chef's reaction. The head chef let him finish before calmly speaking. "Jongmin, I think you are mistaken. Did I ever say you would be the representative?" His words stunned Jongmin. "If not me, then who?" The head chef didn't respond directly but turned to Kang Sung-hoon and said, "Kang Sung-hoon, do you remember what I said about the competition yesterday? You and Jo Jongmin will have a cooking contest. The winner will represent our hotel." To be fair and ensure Jongmin would accept the outcome, and to give Sung-hoon a chance to showcase his talent, the head chef arranged a competition between them. Naturally, Jongmin didn't like this. He protested, "Isn't it obvious that I should be chosen for the competition? Kang Sung-hoon is just a rookie. He probably hasn't even chopped anything before. He's not worthy of being my opponent." The head chef explained seriously, "Sung-hoon is also eligible. Therefore, I must be fair to both of you. Just take the test, and then we'll decide. If you think it's unfair, feel free to tell me." He announced the test: to prepare breakfast for the Chinese guests who arrived at the hotel last night. Each contestant would choose their own menu, and the one whose dishes sold the most would become the hotel's representative. Jongmin smirked arrogantly, confident he would win this competition. The head chef asked if either had any questions, when there were none. The competition began. Kang Sung-hoon closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and loudly expressed his determination. The head chef looked pleased. Before the competition started, he reminded both of them. Yesterday's menu for the guests included chicken, duck, and beer, so prepare some light breakfast menus for them. The competition began. While Kang Sung-hoon meticulously worked on his dishes, Jongmin watched with disdain. "You're lucky to get this chance. But I'm definitely winning this test. Light dishes are my specialty." Jongmin was extremely confident in his abilities because he had spent 2 years making soups. He believed that if it came to soups, he was the best. He tasted a bit of his soup and was very pleased with it. He then glanced over at Sung-hoon, seeing 2 pots of boiling water in front of him, one boiling beans and the other seemingly cooking porridge. Jongmin sneered, "Hey kid, are you trying to make some childish dish?" Ignoring Jongmin's taunts, Sung-hoon focused on his work. First, he took the beans out of the boiling water and placed them in a bowl of cold water so the skins could be easily removed to reveal the beans inside. He put the beans in a blender, added some water and a few teaspoons of sugar, and blended until the beans were finely pureed. He poured the mixture into cups. added some crushed ice, and thus prepared a light drink for breakfast. Now, let's focus on the light dish. Nothing is more suitable for breakfast after a heavy meal the night before than a light porridge. It's just plain porridge with a bit of seasoning to taste, a dash of pepper for aroma, and some finely chopped green onions. A simple yet nutritious breakfast was complete. Looking at Sung-hoon's simple dish, Jongmin sneered, "What kind of dish is this? Do you think that's acceptable for this hotel? Look at a real chef's menu. My soup and sandwich are much more appealing." He continued to belittle Sung-hoon. "I can guarantee that my menu will sell much more than your beggar's bean soup. It's a waste that the head chef even gave you a chance." Jongmin arrogantly thought that the head chef was helping him by setting the test as breakfast. After listening to section leader Oh Hyungmin, the head chef also evaluated Sung-hoon's dish. "A drink made from beans and porridge won't kill anyone, right?" The head chef calmly responded. "Is this the first time you've seen these dishes? And that's what you think?" Hyungmin replied, "No hotel would serve that for breakfast. And I don't think it could even work as a dessert." The head chef bluntly retorted, "Do you have the eyes of someone who has worked in the kitchen for 25 years? Everything was ready, and both menus were displayed in the dining hall for the guests to choose from. The menu with the most selections would determine who would represent the hotel in the competition. Meal time arrived, and the guests began to appear in groups. They stood before the breakfast menus, observing and contemplating. Jongmin had an early lead with 4 people choosing his menu while Sung-hoon had only 1. Jongmin's menu continued to be called 2 servings, 3 servings, then 5 servings. In a short time, he had significantly outpaced Sung-hoon, making him extremely smug. Groups of tourists continued to enter the dining room, all hesitating between the 2 breakfast options. Sung-hoon felt a bit anxious, thinking his menu might be too simple. The sous chef, Kim Sung-soo, patted his shoulder and encouraged him. "You did your best." Kang Sung-hoon felt a bit down after hearing that his menu might not be suitable for the hotel. However, his spirits were suddenly lifted when he heard an order from outside the kitchen for 10 of his menus. The turnaround moment had arrived. The order announcement surprised not only Sung-hoon but also sous chef Kim Sung-soo. Menu A: 10 more servings. The head chef, seemingly having predicted this outcome, smiled with satisfaction. "It has started. I trust my eye for talent." Currently, 80% of the hotel's guests were from China, most of them employees of the Hang Seng Company on a company-organized trip. Many of them were visiting Korea for the first time. Between the 2 dishes, porridge with soy milk, and soup with sandwiches, they chose what made them feel comfortable rather than unfamiliar and hard to eat. Sung-hoon had wisely prepared his menu with the thought that familiar foods would be the best choice for Chinese tourists, making them feel at ease without worrying about whether they would like the taste. Orders for 10 more servings of menu A, then another 4, continued to come in. The guests continuously choosing his menu made Sung-hoon's spirits soar. He worked enthusiastically, and all his fatigue seemed to vanish. In contrast, Jongmin's confidence began to crumble. Despite his strong start, he found himself falling far behind. No, this can't be happening. As the cooking contest ended, the 2 stood side by side, waiting for the results with contrasting emotions. Jongmin, still not accepting the outcome, muttered, "My soup and sandwiches lost to porridge and soy milk?" Before he could process this, the head chef entered with the results in hand. Just as Chef Du was about to announce the results, an urgent message from outside the kitchen caused him to pause. An employee hurriedly entered the kitchen to inform him that the general manager was here and wanted to see him immediately. With a bit of apprehension, Chef Du quickly went to meet the general manager, wondering if there was an issue with the menu. But all his worries instantly vanished when the general manager placed a hand on his shoulder and, with a jubilant attitude, praised him. "Chef Du, well done." He revealed that Chairman Hangsen was very pleased with this morning's breakfast. Despite having experienced many hotels before, nowhere else prepared Chinese cuisine as perfectly as they did. His satisfaction led to the decision to book accommodations for 6,000 guests over the next 2 months. Just one delicious meal had secured an extremely lucrative contract for the hotel. making the general manager ecstatic. When Chef Du emerged from the general manager's office in high spirits, he knew he had placed his trust in the right people. As he was about to return to the kitchen to announce the results, he received a call from an unknown number. The person on the other end introduced himself as a producer from KBC. He informed Chef Du of a minor change in the Best Chef competition. Instead of one participant, each hotel kitchen would send 2 representatives. The competition would include both team and individual events. Any hotel that did not meet the required number of participants would be disqualified and receive a poor rating. Putting that matter aside for the moment, Chef Du returned to the kitchen to finish announcing the results, confident that his choices had brought positive outcomes not only for the competition but also for the hotel. Standing before the 2, Chef Du spoke up. "Today is the first time you both are participating in the competition. Since you started working here, how do you feel?" Jongmin, despite being mean-spirited and envious, was very confident. He spoke up. "My cooking skills are perfect. It seems that customers chose Kang Sung-hoon's menu over mine, because they are just country bumpkins who've never stayed in a real hotel." Jongmin's harsh words made sous chef Kim Sung-soo furious. Unable to contain himself, he grabbed Jongmin's collar and shouted, "Do Jongmin, you little brat!" Before he could finish, Jongmin shrugged his hand off and retorted, "What? Did I say something wrong? Look, the committee members chose my menu. Only country bumpkins would choose Sung-hoon's menu. And you, stop pampering him. I have more experience than he does." Despite Jongmin's criticism, Kang Sung-hoon remained silent. Those around him, however, were extremely angry at this junior's arrogance. HMPH. Stubborn and ignorant. Can't you see your own mistakes? Chef Du had to step in to defuse the tense situation. He turned to Kang Sung-hoon and asked, "How do you feel today?" Sung-hoon shared his honest thoughts. "I believe that whenever Koreans travel abroad, they always bring ramen and kimchi with them. With that in mind, I had an idea for a menu that Chinese guests might enjoy. But somehow I feel that I've given myself a bad reputation for making dishes that aren't considered luxurious. That's my fault, and I ask for your forgiveness, Chef." Sung-hoon's answer pleased Chef Du greatly. He calmly responded, "Sung-hoon, you are right. When it comes to the hotel's luxury, Jongmin's menu is the correct answer. But in terms of customer satisfaction, Sung-hoon's menu is the right choice. Jongmin, you haven't considered what the customers need most because you are only focused on standards." The chef's words left Jongmin unable to refute. Chef Du continued, "Sung-hoon's menu is very good. But there is one small mistake. Chinese guests typically do not like to eat cold dishes. It was a bit unfortunate that you added ice to the soy milk." Truly a grand chef, Chef Du had a deep understanding of world cuisines. He did not announce the competition results but instead mentioned that the organizers had called with a slight change. Each hotel would now have 2 representatives. Kang Sung-hoon and Jongmin, you will be a team. Go and bring back the best results for our hotel. A few days later, at the Moscow resort, where the initial rounds of the competition were held, many chefs had gathered early. The television production team began filming right from the initial meeting of the contestants, making Kang Sung-hoon feel a bit overwhelmed. Jongmin, on the other hand, was different. He eagerly greeted the other chefs to draw attention. Sung-hoon was focused on how to perform his best, deep in thought and unaware that a familiar person was approaching, an unexpected encounter with an old flame. His ex-girlfriend, So Jae-hee, and her new boyfriend, sous chef Jaeon Hyman, were also participating in the competition. Both were from the Preja Hotel. Sung-hoon saw the girlfriend who had cheated on him. He glanced at her with a cold stare. Anyone who had been publicly cheated on would feel anger. The sous chef showed a displeased look upon seeing Kang Sung-hoon. So Jae-hee, not wanting any trouble, intervened. "Don't pay attention to him, he's not worth your time." Kang Sung-hoon ignored the 2 backstabbers, closed his eyes, and turned away, feeling bored with his ex-girlfriend and her new lover. His good friend Jung Tae arrived. He was thrilled that Sung-hoon was also participating in the competition. They greeted each other warmly, shaking hands. They promised to do their best to achieve the highest results in this competition. Jongmin looked annoyed seeing Sung-hoon acquainted with a chef from the Hilton Hotel, one of the top 20 hotels. At that moment, the lights in the hall went out, indicating the program was about to start. The stage lights came on, and the large doors slowly opened. The man who appeared was a famous chef, Chef Kim Myung-sung, one of the judges of the competition. He had experience working at the Hebrews Hotel in Manhattan, a 3-star Michelin hotel. The next judge was Mrs. Song Yun-jung, with 40 years of culinary experience. She was known as the mother of Korean cuisine. The third judge was the executive chef of the Hilton Hotel, Chef Go Ji-sung, with 30 years of experience. All three were top chefs in Korea. This competition would indeed be very challenging. Judge Kim Myung-sung spoke. "Welcome to all the chefs present here today. Unfortunately, by the end of the day, more than half of you will have to go home. Of course, none of you want to leave. This is why the prize for the winner of this competition is an 80-inch 8K smart TV, a kitchen set from Hunson Enterprise, and finally, a cash prize of up to 100 million won. Sung-hoon looked astonished when he saw the 100 million won prize. His eyes lit up like car headlights. With this 100 million won, I won't have any debts anymore, he thought to himself. The judges led the chefs into the room behind them to start the first round. Inside the room was a table with 50 dishes of ingredients, and none of the chefs knew what the challenge would be this time. Chef Ji-sung announced the challenge. All participants will have to write down the names of the ingredients displayed on the table in the order printed on the prepared sheets. The ingredients can be touched but not cut or eaten. The time to complete this is 15 minutes. The call to start was given, and all the chefs hurried to the ingredients table, each one intently observing and feeling the ingredients. Many of them felt confused, not knowing what the ingredients on the table were. Sung-hoon used his sense of perception and began examining each ingredient. He looked slightly puzzled with the bunch of longanises he was holding. Jongmin also started filling in the ingredient names on his sheet. From his expression, it was clear that he was struggling with this challenge. He didn't know many of the ingredients displayed on the table. He glanced over at Sung-hoon and saw him intensely focused on writing. Jongmin intended to copy Sung-hoon's answers but was hindered by the numerous cameras around. Sung-hoon had filled in most of the ingredient names on his sheet but hesitated with ingredients number 46 and 47. These two ingredients were intentionally placed next to each other. Sung-hoon sensed they were tropical fruits but was still uncertain. As the time was running out, Sung-hoon decided to write down what he knew. The judge announced, "Time's up. All chefs are required to submit their test sheets." The chefs submitted their sheets with various emotions. Some were happy, some were anxious. The judges announced that they would reveal the ranking results after checking each team's scores. After some waiting, the judges returned to the hall and began announcing the results. "Please direct your eyes to the screen." Jongmin, anxious, kept scanning for his name on the leaderboard. He only scored 28 out of 50 points, ranking 148th, clearly at risk of being eliminated. Sung-hoon's ex-girlfriend scored 41 points, ranking 25th, while her new boyfriend scored 43 points, ranking 18th. Both of them looked pleased and sneered at Sung-hoon. "Stop pretending to look for your name. I'm sure you only got a low rank. Go ahead, keep searching." However, Kang Sung-hoon's score and rank on the leaderboard were a slap in the face for those who looked down on him. Her eyes widened in disbelief at the result. Kang Sung-hoon scored 48 out of 50 points, a result that left not only Jae-hee but also Jongmin stunned and speechless. Jae-hee looked at Kang Sung-hoon with envious eyes. How can this be? He's just an apprentice. In the hall, the chefs began to murmur. Who is Kang Sung-hoon? He ranked second. Where is Julia Hotel? I've never heard of it. Indeed, since the hotel was only in the top 100, not many people knew about it. The judge then announced that the chef who ranked first was Go Jung-tae from the Hilton Hotel. The female judge couldn't help but praise him. But the hotel's head chef modestly replied, "No, that's just the average I've taught." He's a bit embarrassed for not scoring the maximum. By ranking first in this round, Go Jung-tae received an exemption from elimination for the competition. The judge announced that the purpose of this round was to assess the individual capabilities in the hotels. If the total score of 2 contestants from one hotel did not reach 75 points, they would be eliminated. Behind the scenes, someone was leisurely reviewing the test papers. Kang Sung-hoon's paper made this person puzzled. His answers for 46 and 47 were marked wrong. The answers should have been Ramyei and Ramit, but she was sure that 46 and 47 were Longan and Sapodiya. She quickly took out her phone and asked Google, realizing that Kang Sung-hoon had answered in Thai, which was why he was marked wrong. Back in the hall, Jongmin breathed a sigh of relief when their combined score reached 76. Without Sung-hoon's excellent performance, they would have both been sent home. However, this ungrateful man did not appreciate it and instead questioned, "You didn't cheat, did you, Kang Sung-hoon?" Sung-hoon simply replied, "I'm not that kind of person." But Jongmin still believed that he had copied Jung-tae's answers just because they were friends. Sung-hoon firmly asserted his honesty, leaving Jongmin with nothing more to say. That evening, Kang Sung-hoon stood alone on the hotel balcony, looking pensive. Jongmin, lacking tact, approached and bluntly asked, "What are you thinking about? Did you break up? I saw that girl, she looks like your girlfriend. And she was with another man." Sung-hoon remained silent, deep in thought, as he took a sip from his beer can and began drinking steadily. Jongmin continued, "I'm not interfering, but the guy with your girlfriend, he's a asshole. I know that Jaeon Hyman guy, we went to the same school." Kang Sung-hoon didn't blame Jae-hee, he simply said softly, "It's okay, dating her was my choice. We broke up because she was too tired of me. I don't hold any grudges against them. But their disdainful looks during the competition irritated me. I can't forgive them for that." Crushing the beer can, Kang Sung-hoon's demeanor exuded determination. The next morning, while Jongmin was still drunk, Sung-hoon was already awake. He sat there intently reading through pages of a cookbook. Suddenly, he remembered a day 5 years ago at the hospital. That day, he and his family received devastating news from the doctor. His father's cancer had metastasized to all the organs in his body and was no longer treatable. The doctor's words were like a bolt of lightning, shattering his spirit and leaving the family in endless despair and tears. Kang Sung-hoon's father, however, remained calm, as if he had mentally prepared himself for this bad news. He gently asked the doctor, "Tell me, how much time do I have left?" The doctor replied, 6 months. Kang Sung-hoon's father squinted, looking a bit weary. 6 months. He turned to look at Sung-hoon, as if he wanted to say something. Sung-hoon could feel what his father wanted him to do. After being discharged from the hospital, his father spent the remaining time of his life taking Kang Sung-hoon everywhere to explore. He taught him about ingredients, let him taste the distinctive dishes of each region, and taught him how to sense and differentiate ingredients. Time passed quickly, and the moment when the father and son had to part ways between life and death was approaching. As they watched the sunset together for the last time, father and son held hands tightly, not letting go. They said nothing, but the love they had for each other was immeasurable. When the day of parting finally arrived, Sung-hoon's father, like a flickering oil lamp about to go out, lay weakly on his hospital bed, struggling to breathe his last breaths. He mustered his remaining strength to call for Sung-hoon. His trembling hand, devoid of strength, tried to hold his precious notebook and handed it to his son. He said, "This is the collection of recipes I've gathered throughout my life. I hope you will use it wisely." With a warm smile, he uttered his final words. Kang Sung-hoon, become a great chef. The saddest day also became the day Sung-hoon found the motivation to return to the culinary path. Holding the notebook in his hands, Sung-hoon whispered his gratitude to his father, donned his chef's attire, and prepared for a new day of competition. Meanwhile, Jongmin was still sound asleep. The announcement echoed, "It is now 5:10 a.m. The briefing time has been changed to 5:15 a.m. Please head to the first floor."